The best thing you can have for an asset is conviction. You want a lot of like-minded people that have the long-term mindset that aren't willing to unload when times get tough. And luckily, this is a reason that Shiba Inu has become a blue chip asset. It's why it's made it from the bear market cycle into the bull, and it's one of the reasons why it continues to set these strong foundations for next levels. And what's interesting is it actually outdid both Ethereum and Bitcoin in this certain metric. And I want to show you guys something very important taking place for Bitcoin and Shiba Inu as well. And there's a huge correlation between the two of these. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So the time of filming this video, it's 7:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And U.S. money is just starting to wake up. We're seeing a little bit of chop as the day goes on. And frankly, guys, I don't know what to expect today. I don't know how retail is going to react to the current prices. Now, luckily for Shiba Inu, we have seen a lot of conviction. So I believe that the lows are in for SHIB. I don't think we're going, back down to these levels or so. Maybe we kind of putz around in these ranges, but we're waiting again for sentiment to just pick up in the crypto market. But yes, Shiba Inu has very strong conviction in terms of holders. That is the reason why it's continued to stick around and not feel the pain of some of these other assets as of late. And in fact, what I found very interesting was that Shiba Inu actually beat out both Ethereum and Bitcoin in the percentage of long-term holders. So when we talk about Shiba Inu being one of the longest average held assets in crypto, it's 100% true. And you guys can see that only Litecoin and Chainlink currently have a higher percentage of long-term holders, and it's not by much. So currently Shiba Inu is at 75.8% of holders have held for 1 year or longer. So yes, Shiba Inu does a very good job of bringing in adoption, bringing in new holders, and those holders tend to stick around for a very long period of time. That is, again, essential in setting floors for higher prices. It's essential for large optics. The obviously conversation surrounding Shiba Inu circulating on the interwebs and socials and things like that continues to remain high because it is a community that is very much growing. And imagine what that can look like when you start to reach the holder levels of something like ADA or Doge or Ethereum, right? SHIB is still very early in its life cycle, but it's done a very good job of cementing itself as a dominant asset in the space. And frankly, I would not be surprised if it is on its way towards the top 10 sometime again in the very near term. If you guys hadn't noticed, and did in fact climb, I think, all the way up to 13 on our last pump. So these are very exciting signs for SHIB. But what I find very interesting is something that people continue to ignore time and time again, and this is exchange supply. But what we are looking at in terms of this chart here is actually Bitcoin. And what we've seen for Bitcoin exchange supply is it continues to crater and crater and crater, because even as right now we're dealing with some drop in terms of price, some consolidation in the crypto market, what you're seeing is large entities buy and hoard, accumulate and remove from exchanges. Okay, and why this is important is eventually there is going to be a Bitcoin supply shock. You're going to see a supply shock for the asset that tends to drive the overall crypto market, because even as retail is freaking out, large entities are buying, institutions are buying, governments are buying, or at least discussing buying, enterprises are buying. And I'm hoping people are starting to pick this up, because there will be a hard pivot in the crypto market, and we will see Bitcoin and most other assets go on these insane runs. So when we look at this chart in terms of BTC, what does it have in common with SHIB? We're seeing the same thing. Accumulation and removal of supply. This is one of the things that gets me most excited about Shiba Inu, because I understand that eventually there will be a major supply shock that hits. That's again where Shiba Inu can go and do a 10x in the course of a very short period of time. Now, this isn't to guarantee your financial advice or anything like that. And no, I'm not trying to pump you full of hopium or anything like that. This is how supply and demand works. We are seeing it take place right in front of our eyes. And one of the greatest things about crypto is that it's all on chain, right? We have this being laid out right in front of us. We can see this actively taking place without needing to dive in and hack into platforms and stuff like you would need to do in the stock market. So biggest thing we have to just wait for is wait for things to calm down, wait for everybody to stop overreacting, because when we start to see adoption, when accumulation takes place in a big way once again, that is when you can start seeing some of these more significant moves to the upside, like we've been talking about, like we've been waiting for. And I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than people realize. So no, I don't think the market cycle has changed. I don't think this is a time to freak out. I think this is a time to more than ever be prepared for what comes next. So appreciate you guys as always. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.